Are they made for
Uh, yeah, I don't want to talk about this game, but I have to.
because okay, you review it. No,
You could
all
have
okay,
right,
just
David.
waited
so
for it
Why
to
would
come
you
out on Games Pass.
Yeah.
hey, here's
I
so
started playing this game last night, so I at least have a
I'm
vague
sorry.
understanding of what's going on.
Yeah, okay, so as background, Atomic Heart is the game I'm going to be talking about. But Atomic Heart is a video game that I've been interested in since the first trailer dropped,
Mhm.
like 5 years ago. It's been one I've
Yeah.
followed,
Wow.
actually. So whenever the opportunity to review it came through, as I picked it up because it's like this is the game I've been wanting to play. Um, what's maybe a detriment to me is I do a lot of media blackouts for games I'm interested in because I see a game I'm like I'm going to play this game. I don't need to see anymore. So I've been on blackout for this game since maybe E3 of last year when
Okay.
Xbox showed that last trailer, I think, with the grandma. And there's a huge tonal shift with the grandma that came out because the game before then was kind of seeming to be like a survival horror game in like this in a Russian facility type of game, kind of like SCP
Mhm.
centered kind
Yeah.
of things. Like
It
let's
seemed
go
like it
through.
was going to be like a Control-esque game.
Yeah, it's like okay, so here's all these different areas of science that people have studied, and here's what has gone wrong since this thing has happened. That's what it seemed like the game was going to be.
Mhm.
Maybe more Bioshock than anything else, which is fine. But the game that we got is it's makes sense why they didn't show as much as they should have because a lot of the stuff that if they would have shown it would have turned a lot of people off. But it's also like it's making me rack my brain thinking like why would Microsoft invest so much in this game? Because they've been pushing it pretty hard. Um, and it's like whoever is doing the quality control at Xbox pick the games to like push and um, do any like I guess direction for production for and things, they need to do a better job because this game is like it's one of those video games that you never hear. So like if this game didn't have Microsoft behind it, it'd be a game that you wouldn't hear about for 2 or 3 years. But it's a
Mhm.
game that has like a cult following. And it's like, oh, there's a lot of people who like this game. Let me check it out. Like, oh, it's some weird cult title. Like, whatever. It's weird. Like that's what this game is at its heart. It's that. But it's a game like that that has been given millions of dollars to have a AAA aesthetic with a even lesser like European stalker kind of gameplay injected into it. And my theory, before I even just get into anything else, my theory is they had their first trailer, they pitched that to a lot of people, they got a lot of money, and they're like, how do we do this? And they just kind of started to do things and it just didn't work out, but they kept it in there
Okay.
and they just kept adding things to it. And eventually saying, okay, well, this isn't good enough. Let's add something else. Like, oh, okay, this is cool, but let's add something else. And the game is just full of these really amazing ideas. There's so much cool stuff in the game. I look at it, I'm like, wow, this is just like really like this is a visually really arresting, beautiful video game with such cool design choices in the aesthetics that I'm like, I just wish they executed everything else just as good as they did the aesthetic lean of it. Because it's like the gameplay doesn't reach that point that it needs to. The story doesn't even launch off. It's a non-story. It's like a Call of Duty story, which is crazy. It's just baffling to me that they decided to do something like that. But yeah, I have a PowerPoint now.
All right.
I'm gonna show you show you guys.
Want me to add it
Is
on
it
there?
there? Yeah, add it. Okay. Here is the title, Atomic Heart. So the interesting thing about this game is they have tried so hard to say, we're a studio from all over the world. Okay, we're not just Russians. We don't support Russia. But like, you go to their YouTube channel, they have trailers in English, and then the other trailers they have are in Russian. So it's like, okay,
It's all in Cyrillic.
are you guys gonna, just admit it at some point? And like, I get why they're saying that it's a very touchy political climate that we're in. They want to make money. They're making a game. They've invested so much heart. Like, you can tell there's heart that went behind this game. Like, these guys care. And they don't want the political climate to affect it. And them not kind of approaching it head first is bad, but it's also like their only choice, really. But then also Xbox having press conferences in Russia saying all hail the Russian like proletariat, all these things is like, dude, like you guys need to like, the marketing teams need to work together here or something. Like there's a huge disconnect here. But yeah, a lot of people are worried that the game like props up the Soviet Union or just Russia in general as this like amazing in this amazing thing that should rule the world, and it doesn't do that at all. Any political commentary they have is like, it's even less than any commentary you would get in a Call of Duty game. It's just really shallow. It's shockingly apolitical for a game about the falling of a communist nation. They don't really commit to anything, and that's just kind of how the game is in general. It's just very like, I could do this, so I'm gonna do it, and like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this, and it's just like, that's just what the game does. And you can tell, I mean, JJ probably knows this. The first like the game starts you on a boat during this like amazing like day of like science.
A carnival pedal boat.
Yeah, so it's like you're on a carnival pedal boat, and it's like, hey, this is the amazing day in science. Like, could be a huge day for like the 2.0 launch of this scientific thing, whatever. And obviously something goes wrong. So that's like the first 45 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I'm in. This is cool, because the actual like hook is like, okay, the Russians won World War II, and they advanced science so far that they invented a serum that is allowing people to learn anything from just one injection, right? So like, society is lifted so high above than where we are now. There's no like useless people basically in society. We're all obsessed with science and the arts. It's kind of what this game is. So like, the aesthetics fit that. Things are sort of so pretty. People are like so nerdy and smart, whatever. And that's why they create robots to do the labor, because everyone's above labor at this point. Everyone's like, I'm a brain surgeon. I can make fucking cybernetic eyeballs in a second. Like, that's just kind of where we're at as a society, not we, but them. So the guy who's the leader, I think his name is Sechenov. The main character, P3, calls him Wizard for some reason. I don't know. The main character's name is P3, by the way. He doesn't have a real name, P3.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I mean, he does.
He does, but it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah. But it's like, P3, go do this. And then his gloves, his name's Charles, or Charles, because it's Charles with a dash.
Yeah.
It's dumb. Okay, so they're like launching this 2.0 thing. It's like a mega mind. They're going to connect robots and society as one. We're all going to come together as this mega like monolith. And some scientists within the group decide, you know what? No, fuck it. We're going to turn it back. That's a really good hook for a game. I'm going to go ahead and say that. That's an amazing hook for a game, because eventually it's like, hey, like, you need to go find the dude who did this, because the main character, he's this like secret soldier, super soldier, meathead guy, and they're like, hey, you have to.
So much,
he's the worst. So they tell you to go into the bunkers and go find this thing, and go find this guy, and you go in there, and it's creepy stuff. It's supposed to be creepy. It's like, oh, there's all these robots around. I have a wrench, basically. I'm like scared. I'm scrounging for I'm scrounging for things. In the game, you think, oh, is this what the game's going to be? Because that's really cool. Because I'm seeing some messed up things. There's these like ballerina robots that you see. Well, we're gonna get to them. We have the sexy ballerina ladies who, they move kind of creepy. We have these like red ligament kind of like I don't know how to explain them, like liquid humans that are like in the game. They killed dogs and attached the dog brains to these like limbs to like make liquid and like give it form from human blood. It's a bunch of like messed up things. You see, like it's cool, but you're going through the catacombs basically of science of like how far did the Russians push science? Like how far did we go to get to where we are now? And there's some messed up things. Amazing setup, and it's like, oh man, this is gonna be some like survival horror game with like somebody I can action lean. It'd be so cool. And the game is not that. The game is a full-on like action game with really bad shooting and like quippy Marvel dialogue, and it's just the worst. It's like so bad.
It's like sub Marvel.
It's so bad, dude. Because like, go ahead, JJ.
I hate the strafing in this game. Why does it do that? If you're trying to walk left while moving forward, it's like you're walking through mud.
There's no run. There's no run button.
There's no
by the way, you just walk.
There's a dash.
So that's cool. There's like a dash
button. Yeah.
But it's on a cooldown, which is like, okay.
It's got like weird semi Metroidvania elements to it, which suck too.
Yeah. It has puzzles that are made for 5-year-olds. It has
I like that the locks are at least kind of like there's like different types of locks, but they're all the same design. But all of the like things are stupid. There's the one where he's like, you're just like, it's just Simon or whatever, where it's just like he's snapping while you're.
Yeah, there's like one where like so there's like you go to like pick a lock and it's like this and these tubes pop out and like a circle goes around and you're like snapping your finger when the light passes by the tube. And it's like, dude, this is like just unlock it. You have a little like your glove, Charles, is a super scientist. Just let him unlock the door, bro. Like I don't know what you're doing, but there's a point in the game where I 100% believe that the devs were in on it. I was like, oh, okay. So this game wasn't the survival horror game I thought it was going to be. It's a schlocky B-tier. Like, let's make fun of people who are like too patriotic for their country, too just like in deep for their country, or just like patriotic in general. Because like P3, the main character, he doesn't ever question anything thrown at him by the smart super scientist Soviet glove, by the way. He was like, okay, like he just does it. And it's like, oh, okay, so this game is actually smart. I went 180 on it. I was like, okay, this game's smart. Like, they know. Because there's a part where you're listening to the radio. It's actually really funny. It made me laugh. So P3 walks by a radio and he goes, hey, Charles, what is this? And Charles goes, oh, that's just music that we've made by using quantum computing to predict AI like temperaments of the future so we can have constant flow of music. So anytime you turn on the radio, it's going to be a song you've never heard, blah, blah, blah. It keeps going on, all these scientific things. And then the main character, P3, goes, Charles, do you know who you're talking to? And he's like, oh, yeah, sorry. It's just music. And then P3 goes, oh, okay, cool. Like... I was like, this is amazing. Oh my God, like, yes. And then they just flip on it. They're just like, okay, you know what now? P3 is a hard-ass military dude. He's ready to fuck stuff up. He's going to go crazy. He's the coolest guy in the room. They flip the switch constantly. It's like, I just like commit to something. Because they really want you to think he is so cool. And he says he has a catchphrase. Oh my god. His catchphrase is crispy critters. I'm not even joking. Something happens, he goes, crispy critters, oh my gosh, let's go. It's like, is this cool? Like, I don't know. And the game never, ever does anything to progress the characters, the story. You know immediately from the get-go where the story is going, what's going to happen. There's like these amazing aesthetic looking like characters, like the robot ballerina twins are aesthetically really interesting just from like a design standpoint. And, you know, like let's make these android killers who are designed after the most fit physical specimen in Russia, and like let's make them killer robots that can like fly in the air and turn into liquid, like all these things. That's cool. You don't learn anything about them. They're just enemies that you kill at the very end of the game. So it's like, what's the point? Like there's nothing in between point A and point B to make you like want to do anything. And even so, like I would say if the game stuck to its like cavern dwelling, like let's go through these messed up Soviet experiments and see creepy things, it would be decent. It would be a decent game. Like I think because I legitimately enjoyed walking around doing the puzzles. The puzzles are pretty good. Like not the puzzles that you do on like the walls or like for the doors, but like the environmental like Half-Life-esque puzzles are actually decent. Like they're fun. You get to explore big areas that look gorgeous.
I like the swimming goop.
The swimming goop, yeah. So there's this like clear polymer stuff that the Russian has used kind of as their like main thing. It's like very clear, and it's like can transport water, all these things. But you can jump in it because it's actually like solid. And you just kind of like swim through, and it's a really interesting thing. Like it's cool to swim through it. It's cool to use it to like get around a boss, get around an enemy, go like scale up something. It's just like a really cool and visually striking thing. The game is visually like, I just like can't say enough. It's visually, it is so interesting. There's so much stuff. I'm like, I want to know more about this. Like a better development team would have been able to pull off a lot of things with this toolbox. Like the team just wasn't proficient enough. Because it's just like there's just cool stuff. Like you go to like, so there's a boss called, I can't even pronounce it, but it's that thing I was talking about before, that biometric like limbs that are like blood and like a dog head. Like it's stalking you through like a whole thing, and it's just really creepy looking. And one time you find it sitting with a doll, and you're like, oh, okay. Like that's creepy, and it just never like actually commits or like lands anything, and it's just so disappointing because it has this like really concentrated, like amazing aesthetic and semi decent like flow. The guns feel okay. I haven't even talked about the robot that rapes you, but there's a robot that rapes you. She just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it just happens abruptly, and then it's a constant theme throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, okay, so, because this game's a survival horror game at first, and you're like, oh, how do I save? Oh, a save room. Oh my god, that's so cool. I love this. Walk into a save room, you see this, like, fridge. You're like, oh, okay, what's this? And you talk to it, and it's a sexy woman fridge, and she just starts saying, like, basically raping you. And she's there through the whole game, and they think it's the funniest thing ever. But yeah, here's the elephants in the room, and then here's my score. Hold on, I'm just gonna show this so we can show a trailer. We'll probably keep talking, but my score is an 8. It hurts a whole lot. And also, if you can tell, look, that's my face when I see these guys. I actually like these guys a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So Dolly, we can switch off. Go to a trailer. I'm gonna keep talking because
I just can't believe that you gave it an 8 out of 10.
Hey, no, 8 out of 10
No,
hurts a whole lot.
Yeah, it's an 8 on the pain scale.
Yeah, so
I'll take it.
you're in these catacombs, right? You're like, okay, this is really cool. I hope they do something. And then eventually it gets like the story in there kind of crescendos. Look at this stuff. It's so cool. Oh my god. So it just like kind of crescendos. And you're like, okay, what's next? It's like, hey, bro, we got an open world now. You're like, what? So then you're just like walking around because you can't run. You're just like walking around,
The
driving
enemy
your
designs
car.
are so good in this game. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and like even this is so cool. Like the way you get up into these like Russian areas, these like floating islands, is you get into a car and then a robot comes and straps you to itself, and then the robot carries you. Like it's just cool. Like oh my god. But then it's like now you know what? But yeah, so it's like an open world, and you're like driving a car around. If you crash the car into like one thing, you blow up. And it's just like you can't kill the enemies. Okay, this is stupid. So you can't kill the enemies in the open world, right? You kill them, and then like a repair bot comes out and repairs them. And they have the survival horror enemy like damage sponge thing. So it's like, okay, so now I gotta kill these dudes, maybe, and then get their stuff and then craft some more bullets, and hopefully I can kill them. It's just like it doesn't make any sense. It's not cohesive. It feels like I was saying before, they got a bunch of money and we're like, you know what would be cool? Open world. So they add open world. There's like 3 areas that are open world that you use to go to the next places. And yeah, it's just enemies are bullet sponges, although like eventually you'll get the weapons. Well, the game doesn't give you weapons, which is kind of weird. You have to craft them. So it's like you could potentially go through the game with just one weapon if you're a dummy. But you get this gun that like shoots electricity that shoots off the polymer off of robots, which is really cool because you can see the damage on their bodies. And then if you shoot or use your melee attack in that weakened spot, they'll just like fall apart. Super cool. But that's just the end of it. Like that's the combat. That's it. And yeah, it has so many amazing, interesting ideas and just doesn't execute. It's like they had too much inspiration. They're just like, said, let's do everything half as good as we could. It just doesn't line up for the amount of time they had to make on this game, the amount of money that they had, the backing by their government to make it.
It feels like it has a lot of. You mentioned the cohesion aspect, and it's like it's a lot of bullet points, and they just keep adding more bullet points to the game, but none of it seems to fit together.
Yeah,
which is kind of disheartening because like you're saying, there's parts of it. I'm just watching the video. I haven't downloaded it yet through Gamecast, but there's parts of it that look pretty freaking awesome. It's like, wow, what's going on here? I don't know. Let's check it out. But it's almost it's weirdly like watching an art house film, but a bunch of art house films together that don't really have a lot of stuff, like sci-fi art house films together.
It's
it's
such a bummer, man.
I do like the scavenging thing where it's just telepathic. You can just walk into a room and hold the button.
You just hold down the F button.
Okay, I'll take it. That's good.
Yeah,
and your boy Charles will suck it up.
Listen, it's weird because like some people that have played open world games, like, oh, finally, that sounds like it reduces a lot of the tedium.
Sure.
And except that you're just walking around constantly holding F all the time.
Yeah.
And it removes all the feeling of actual interaction with the environment because it's just I'm not doing a thing anymore. I'm just I press the button and then the things come out. Like, I don't know. It should be cool, but it just falls
I
flat.
also absolutely love the like explanation as to why you can hold infinite items in your backpack, because it basically the Russian scientists designed a bag of holding. Like it shrinks it down to the molecular level, and you could just keep storing it in there. No big deal.
And then also, there's at one point they have this thing where you can hear the voices of the dead people in like the labs that you're walking through.
Yeah,
And they don't ever like do anything else with that. It's just like you can hear like two guys' voices, and that's it. It's like, okay,
yeah, they don't like give you, they don't give you hints. It doesn't like, it's not even lore. It's just dead guy talking.
Yeah, he's like, man, I was trying to lift up this box and it fell over on me. And can you help me? It's like, you're dead. Like I can't. You're dead. Like, cool, thanks. Like, and then it doesn't do anything else with that ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I could have been like I flip flopped so much with how I felt about this game, because like it's a game that I think I would have enjoyed if I wasn't excited about it. Like if I just randomly found this game, I'd be like, "Oh, this game's cool." It's weird, but it's cool. But it's like the fact that I was excited about it, I feel like that maybe hindered me. But I don't know if that's like me trying to make excuses. Like, cause like
I just don't think it's weird enough. Like, if it really leaned into some of the stuff harder, I guess. I don't know.
Because like I was saying before, with P3, the main character, it's like they make him a goofball, and then he's either perma on like that like third option in a BioWare game where you're mean but you didn't mean to be mean. He's perma on that. And then he's just mean to everyone. And then he's like also just really stupid. But then sometimes he has moments where he's just like, "Oh man, I'm tired." And Charles is like, why are you tired? He's like, "I just want to walk through a door and there not be a fight." And like, that's funny. It's like, I just want more of that.
He's constantly complaining about the gameplay mechanics. Like there's that one point where he's like, "I'm really sick and tired of shoving these balls into these tubes. Why the hell are you eggheads constantly doing this? Can't I just open a door, please?"
Yeah, and it's like the game has that stuff in there, but it never does anything with it. It's like, let's just go the easiest route with like what we could do.
If a more competent team worked on it, this could have been like Blood Dragon. But like, what if it was like the 80s Russian propaganda, the reverse Red Dawn kind of thing or something? But yeah, it's not. It's not consistently funny. It's not.
Yeah, and then the endings of this game are literally like, there's two of them, and they're the most non-endings ever. And one of them is a sequel bait ending. So it's like, good luck, buddy. Like,
Atomic Hearts.
Love it.
Yeah, I've told everyone I've talked to about this game, like, if you have Game Pass, check it out. Like it could vibe with you, like, and that's fine. Like, but I don't know. That
was my first question I was going to ask you was, does P3 ever get better? But it definitely
no. He's the same. Because even towards the end, like, you're about to like meet your boss, and he's still like, "Sure, yes, sir." It's like, bro, like, what are you like? You just got screwed over so many times by this glove that you just haven't doubted once, and he's working for the government that just betrayed itself. Like, what are you doing, man? And he, yeah, it's whatever. All the bosses are the same. It's a wild game. I don't know. It's one of the hardest games I've had to review, because it's just like, dude, like, because there's stuff in there that I like. There's stuff in there that I hate. There's stuff in there that I just am ethically opposed to. You know,
Yeah.
Sure.
it's like I
Running the gamut.
it's crazy. It's the most confusing game I think I've ever played because it does a lot well, does a lot horribly wrong, it does a lot just like it's weird. But also it's a disappointing game because it could have done a lot more and it could have been a lot better. And that's what I thought Xbox was helping them with. But we've learned in the past couple of years Xbox isn't good with that stuff. So
And the game's available on other platforms besides Xbox. So yeah.
yeah.